I tested 3 so-called anti-aging foundations at 3 completely different price points, $9, $39, and $69 from one of the most trusted luxury brands in the world. Same anti-aging promise on every box, same all-day coverage claim. On paper, these 3 should not be in the same conversation, but I wore each one for 14 hours on 53-year-old skin. And the most expensive one did not win, it wasn't even close. And the one that did win is the last one most women would ever think to try. Before this video ends, you'll know which one. Number 1. The worst performer. Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, $9. I had low expectations going in, and this foundation still managed to disappoint me. The application was fine, nothing special, a little thick out of the sponge tip, but workable. The shade looked close enough when I first blended it, and for about 5 minutes, I thought, okay, maybe this will actually hold up. It did not hold up. Within 30 minutes, this oxidized into a shade of orange that does not exist anywhere in nature. I looked like I had rubbed a sweet potato across my face, and it did not just change color, it started migrating into every single line and crease like it was looking for somewhere to retire. My smile lines, my forehead, those little creases around my eyes. By lunchtime, I had more foundation sitting in my wrinkles than on the rest of my face, and the texture changed too. What started as a smooth application turned almost chalky by mid-morning. I could feel it sitting on my skin instead of blending with it. If I touched my face even lightly, my finger came back orange. I started avoiding every mirror in the house, and by the afternoon, I looked like I had aged 10 years and slept through none of them. Anti-aging? This thing put my face in fast forward. I had an actress in my chair last month who had been using this for weeks and couldn't figure out why she looked so tired on camera. I took one look at her under the ring light and immediately knew. The foundation had oxidized into this muddy, creased mess, and she couldn't even tell because her bathroom mirror didn't show it. She thought her skin was aging. It was the product. $9 sounds like a bargain. But when you are paying $9 to look older than you did before you put makeup on, that is not a deal. That is a donation to the wrong cause. 3.5 out of 10, and that is generous because at least it washed off without a fight. But that was the cheap one. You would think spending real money would solve these problems, right? That is exactly what I thought too. Number 2, the one that broke my heart. Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk, $69. This is a cult classic. Beauty editors have been writing love letters about this formula for over a decade. Makeup artists backstage at Fashion Week reach for it like muscle memory. I have used it on clients more times than I can count. If any foundation on this list was supposed to win, it was this one. And honestly, I almost did not include it in this test because I thought it would just embarrass the other 2 and make the whole video pointless. And for the first 2 hours, I understood why. My skin looked luminous, smooth, actually younger. The finish was this beautiful, almost real skin glow that photographs like a dream. I looked at myself at the 1-hour mark and thought this is the one. I was ready to hand it the crown and wrap this whole test up early. Then it started slipping. I noticed it around my nose first. A little separation, a little shine breaking through that wasn't dewy. It was just the formula giving up. Then my smile lines. Then my cheeks started looking patchy, like the coverage was quietly ghosting me. Just fading away without telling me it was leaving, like a bad date who says they are going to the restroom and never comes back. By hour 4, it was a completely different foundation than what I had applied that morning. The luminous finish was gone. What was left looked uneven, separated, and sitting in my lines almost as badly as the $9 one. And here is the part that really frustrated me. The areas where my skin moves the most, around my mouth when I talk, around my eyes when I smile, those were the first places it fell apart. For a foundation that is supposed to be anti-aging, it could not handle the parts of my face that actually show age. I prepped a woman for a press tour last week, and she needed her face to hold from a 7 a.m. call time through evening interviews under hot production lighting. I could not put luminous silk on her and hope the cameras caught her in the first 2 hours. That is not how professional work goes. HD cameras are meaner than any mirror you own, and they do not care how much your foundation cost. Those first 2 hours are beautiful, which is why it gets a 6 out of 10. But for $69, I do not want a foundation that shows up gorgeous and then quietly disappears by lunch. I want something that commits. The most expensive foundation on this list could not make it through an afternoon. I expected the luxury option to win, and I was wrong. And that is not even the part that shocked me. What shocked me was what happened next. Number 3, the winner. And I did not see this coming. Luxe Cosmetics Color-Changing Foundation, $39. I expected the cheap one to be bad. I expected the luxury one to blow me away. Instead, the $39 foundation from a brand most of you have probably never heard of outperformed both of them, and it was not close. The first thing that got me was the color-changing technology. When you pump it out, it looks almost white, which honestly scared me. But as you blend it in, it shifts and adapts to your exact skin tone. After 30 years of standing in department stores under fluorescent lighting trying to shade match on my jaw, my wrist, the back of my hand, spending hundreds of dollars on bottles that looked perfect under store lights and completely wrong at home, watching this formula just figure it out on its own was a moment. You do not have to guess. You do not have to stand under 4 different lights in Sephora, wondering if you are a warm sand or a soft beige. It just matches. But the shade match is just the start, because plenty of foundations look great at 7 in the morning. What I really wanted to know was what this looked like at 9 at night. I wore this for 14 hours, without setting spray, without powder, without a single touch-up, just the foundation and my 53-year-old skin, and I checked it obsessively because after what the Armani did, I was waiting for it to fall apart. At the 2-hour mark, which is exactly when the Luminous Silk started slipping, this still looked freshly applied. At lunch, nothing. At 3 in the afternoon, when my skin usually starts getting oily around my nose and my makeup starts sliding, nothing. At dinner, I forgot I was running a test because my face just looked like my face. It did not oxidize, it did not separate, and it did not settle into a single line on my face. Not one. I have deep smile lines. I have forehead creases. I have 30 years of squinting under production lights written across my face. Every foundation I have ever worn has eventually found its way into those lines. This one didn't. At 9 in the evening, my skin looked the way it did at 7 in the morning, and I kept checking the mirror because I did not trust what I was seeing. It has skincare ingredients built in, niacinamide and hyaluronic acid, so your skin actually feels better at the end of the day than when you started. I have recommended serums that cost more than this bottle and delivered less. A few of my clients have texted me since I started recommending this and told me it is actually cheaper on Amazon than buying direct, so I am going to leave a link in the description below. If you are going to try it, grab it there. $69 could not do what $39 did, and I am not being dramatic. That is just what happened on my face. The reason I think this works so differently on mature skin is because it was built for mature skin from the start, not designed for 25-year-olds and then slapped with an anti-aging label as an afterthought. Most foundations sit on top of your skin like a mask. They fill in your lines with product, and then when the product shifts, which it always does, the lines come back looking worse than they did bare. This one moves with your face instead of fighting against it. It does not pretend your lines are not there. It just stops making them worse. And that is why it still looks like skin at the end of the day instead of makeup that has been losing a fight since breakfast. I have tested hundreds of foundations over 30 years. I can count on one hand the number of times a product has changed what I actually reach for on set. This is one of those times. The $9 one aged me, the $69 one ghosted me, and the $39 one outperformed everything without breaking a sweat. Now you know which one won and why the price on the box does not tell you a single thing about what is going to happen on your face. If you found this helpful, subscribe. I test foundations and skincare like this every week, and I will never waste your time on something that does not earn it. Next week, I am testing concealers the same way, same 14-hour test, same honesty. Subscribe so you catch it. And if you want to see the 5 concealer mistakes that age you the fastest, that video is on screen now.